about life, let's talk about everything. Save space for friends just like you and me. No matter where you are, 'cause we never apart. Conversation so fire, got you catching the vibe with Angie and Friends. Angie and Friends, yeah. Angie and Friends. Angie and Friends.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Angie and Friends. Let me just introduce you to this fabulous woman I'm here with today. This is my friend, Janella Dobbs. Janella Dobbs is a psychotherapist. She's actually been in therapy now for the last 9 years, but she didn't start there, and we're going to talk a lot about that. Because we're going to start from the beginning of this incredible woman. Some of you out there might know her, Hedonis, okay? The Amazon in the hip hop world. Right? Hey, girl.
Hey.
What's up?
I'm going to try to keep it good.
Girl, stop playing. Your life story is just so fascinating. And not to mention, it's healing because there are so many people that have gone through some of the things similar to what you've gone through and came through the trenches, but then there are some who have not. And this is why it's so important. And I'm so thankful for everybody to be able to hear your story today. So someone can be inspired, because I know I am. I am truly inspired by you. But before we go there, let's just talk about how we met and how we got connected, though.
Oh my God, Chad.
Yes, big shout out to Chad, right? Our homie Chad from the Pennsylvania Human Relations Committee.
So, we were both council members.
Yes.
Did a lot of good work for the community. But before I do go into just anything, I just want to just thank you for this opportunity. Just to let you know, I'm so proud of you and what you're doing, and just giving, your friends the opportunity to share why we're friends and why we connect. But I'm so proud of what you're doing. I'm proud of Angie and Friends, and I know this is going to be something that the community would love, and those who watch the show will be inspired just by you, sharing your life with them.
Thank you.
So we met, as council members. And you know what? I remember the first time we did clicked. I said, I don't want to go home after the meeting.
No.
I was like, we clicked so well in the meetings, and I'm like, well, today is not the day that I want to go home.
Right.
So I'm like, hey, do you mind getting a drink?
Yeah.
Because I'm still trying to carry this thing on.
And we did.
And we did it. We had a great time connecting. So I am happy to be here. And happy to get a chance to let everybody know how we kind of relate, because we have such a good time.
Great. We do. We have a great time.
Professional, and when we're relaxing and just going through our daily relational kind of engagement. So.
Our conversations that we have. And what is so great about that, you're a Black woman, I'm a Black woman, and just the fact that there are so many women, specifically Black women, who find it very challenging actually to bond and make new friends. And this is another part of why I created Angie and Friends, just to show the importance of how you build and maintain relationships with other people, and how it's so possible to just meet someone, and especially someone so dope like yourself, and that synergy just comes together so well. Now, I don't even know how many years it's been now, and we're still here, and now we're having this conversation here like this, just to kind of show the world that. That was definitely great to meet in that environment, because it just showed also too just how powerful, right? Just how powerful that we are as women are, and we specifically as Black women are, because Chad Dion Lassiter do not play when it comes to his girls, right? Again, Chad, we love you.
Brother. Yes, he brought us together, and I appreciate that.
Big shout out to his wife, Stella. You know we love you, girl. So let's just go back a little bit. So you're from Philadelphia, right?
Yes, I'm from Philadelphia, born and raised. I'm one of 5 children. And my parents were married, divorced, and that's what kind of started this whole venture for me as far as my being this person that's caught up in the community in a sense. With my parents separating, I got into a lot of different things, and growing up in Philly wasn't easy in a sense of children who were out there looking for something that they couldn't get at home. But it was also loving, a loving, protective, but yet you got to be tough type of community. So I grew up in Philly. I went to Ben Franklin High School. Shout out to all of my past peers. I'm not going to say how many years ago, but yeah, I started out just being a child that was out there troublemaking, playing with anybody else, getting to things that you shouldn't get into, and growing up pretty fast. And that led me to kind of getting involved in a lot of things. Always had a love for school, always had a love for engaging with my friends and family.
Now, would you say that the environment that you grew up in, not so much in your household, because like you said that you had so much love because you had both your parents for quite some time, then you grew up in North Philly, correct?
Yeah, so what I want to just, everything starts with a split, because everything's all good before it go bad. It's not the same anymore, meaning I'm not the same.
Where were you?
As early as 7.
All right.
As early as 7, when you are young and the split happens, however that split is, whether you go through something traumatic or just something that makes you aware and not the same as your innocent, most wholesome self. So when I got in recognizing that, I was like, okay, what's out there to meet the need that I have within me that's not being met? And at the point when I was younger, you don't know that something's wrong. You just feel a deep need. During the split, I felt compassion for my mother. And
that's interesting.
Every child is always looking at their safety. They're always looking at the authority figure to see if they're good. Because if you good, I'm good.
Right.
And if I see you upset or if you're in a place where you're not able to meet certain needs because life has pushed you into a different place. So the split happened for everybody in my family, even my mother, everybody was things that change you. So at that point, I saw that, hey, I want to be someone that helps. I want to be someone that isn't a burden on top of whatever pains and whatever issues that a lot of us face in the growing up in situations that
the thing about it is, because it's so interesting, because you talk about that the split,
it's always the split,
and then with that split, and now your mother has 5 children, and like you said, you want to make sure that mom is okay. So they talk a lot today about children that had to now become parents of their parents. Do you feel like that was you?
Oh yeah. So this is just my story, but it can fall in the sense of any child not getting their needs met young.
Right.
Because that does lead to trauma and problems with drug using, health, mental health things, relating and socializing appropriately, keeping meaningful relationships and jobs. All of this is important because you wonder as an older person, how did this happen to me when I can't hold on things or I disconnect from things and things are not working out? It's always something that happened younger. So when you go back younger and you look, as early as 7, I noticed Dad is not here. Mom is not happy. I don't want to make Mom feel worse. Right. I want to be helpful. And at that point, parents are just trying to survive. Their behaviors of coping, of dealing with paying bills, raising kids, trying to maintain things, right, is their primary thing. Right. Where I come from is your primary thing. Hey, I feed you, I clothe you, that's it. Right. But the developmental part of being there for certain stages for a child gets skipped in the struggle, in the survival mode of an adult. So at that point, I recognized that I wanted to be helpful. I wanted to ease my mother's pains, or I wanted to make her life better. I didn't want to be a burden.
Right.
I wanted to help with bills. You know, as early as 7, I want to get good grades. I want to be able to be someone that brings no harm or no more pain to the situation.
So would you say that's kind of sort of like the poster child? You were becoming the poster child of now?
Not really the poster child.
Okay.
I was becoming someone that felt like they needed to fix it.
Okay.
And which is wrong for kids to feel. But if it was a problem that my mom had, why would I say that she needs to fix something? Because if she needs fixing, then of course I'm doomed. I'm thinking, you would never, it's always you as a child, right? So that's when I realized, like, hey, I want more. I want to be more. And that kind of initiated me heading out into the world to recognize Philadelphia. Okay. To recognize the environment. Because out there is what I need to fix it.
Right. I got you. So now that was kind of the beginning of how you got to where you are now, of course, because you are speaking right now as who you are today, which is a therapist. But before that, again, you went from being a child who now, like you said, want to kind of comfort your mom and be a part of be
the fixer. Yeah. Whoever has a parent, grandparent, someone who's struggling, who has authority and responsibility over you, that's just a natural thing that a child just probably would have. That's just in my case, but there's plenty of things that happen to children that are not good that still splits and sends them out into the world, right? That's just mine, which is my mom was overwhelmed with raising 5 children out of a divorce and really trying to, I can't see me, at that point juggling like that. So I definitely commend her for it, even though it was kind of the coping skills kind of pushed the need for, paying attention to children. And most parents don't mean to do that harm, but it's harm done when it's done that way. Because it's for safety reasons, for survival reasons, right? So we say, okay, I'm helping grandma, I'm helping mom, I got to be successful. And that's how it kind of started my initial mindset. It went to, I got to be strong. And being strong was to find a way to fix it. And to fix it, now I'm out into the world. And then I'm looking for things out there, just like any young person, out there. They're looking for anything that can, make them feel valued, wanted, that'll bring them worth. So I got out there, got good grades, did sports,
What sports were you in?
I played basketball, volleyball, baseball.
I played softball.
Yeah. So I went into sports, and then, and then the other side, that was the good thing that I did. Mom, don't worry about me. But then it was the other thing, like, I got to get out here and get this money. Okay. I got to get out here.
So this is getting out into the world. So now we're out in the world. So what does that look like for you? What was going out into the world like? Was it a scary thing for you? Or did you feel like, I'm ready to go out here and just see what's out there and what I can do to make some changes?
Well, I didn't know what the world was. It wasn't in the house.
And the world is the streets, right?
The world is,
that's the streets.
Yeah. So, but I knew that I couldn't get my needs met in a home.
Okay.
So we all go out there to get our needs met. You go out there for validation and attention. If you didn't get love home, you go out there and you try to, that's what the process is. Whatever I've been taught in the home, I'm going to mimic that to get my needs met in the world. Healthy produce healthy. Survival produces that survival mode.
So when you went out there,
I wasn't ready. A lot of us that's in this community are not ready It's like cement that's wet, and you put a guard around it, and you tell people don't walk into this wet cement. And next thing you know, it's bottles, cat prints, glass, everything, and now the cement, now the cement is pressed hard now. So now the only way so now, you're settled in that. Right. So a lot of children are settled in those, feelings of neglect or abuse or trauma or whatever the case may be. So when you go out in the world, you're and if it's not right, that's what they get. They get a cemented, already damaged person. Okay. And then that person is coming out in survival mode to get their needs met. And I think that was me, but it didn't feel like that. It felt like freedom, but it wasn't. It was fend for yourself. So it's difficult for us all. That is definitely what the streets is fend for yourself, for sure. Yeah. I mean, and we came up in an era, because we're 70s babies, but we were growing up in the 80s, and the 80s were the crack era. The 80s was the time with hip-hop, which that was the bomb. Exactly. So let's just talk a little bit about that hip-hop, because you come from hip-hop. Yeah. You are hip-hop. Yeah, when I was... And so what was it that attracted you to the hip-hop arena as a female? The box. That was the cable video channel. Okay. Before all of this stuff, I used to watch that a lot, and I had some cousins that loved music, so they would buy albums. We would make up steps, and we would make up songs, and we would write and sing about the things that we wanted and who we liked. What did you want? What we didn't like. When I was younger, I wanted. Now that I'm older now and I can look back, I think I wanted a safe place. I think I wanted to belong to someone, someone that's always on it, watching it and all of that. I think that's what I was seeking deep down inside. Yeah. And did it resonate in your music? It resonated in the creativity that I kind of, because I'm kind of like a lone wolf within my siblings. My older brother is 5 years older than me. And then I have a sister who's like a decade, and then 2 other siblings and they're below there. So I kind of spent time to myself. And I always imagined and was creative, made up games, and I remember doing poetry at first. Okay, so you started as early as 12 years old. But isn't that hip hop when you really think about it? Is poetry? No, not for me. No, poetry is like a deeper. It's like a more deeper, intimate relationship within you. Okay. Inside. So you think that poetry is about you, and then hip hop is about everybody else? I believe it feels that way to me, in a sense of poetry. I don't think of no one else when I would write. I wasn't thinking about, is this cool? Is this hot? Would someone like it? Understood. It was just like, this needs to come out. And I had a poetry book, wrote through it. I never ever went back and read the poems. They were just for that. It was like an outlet. That's what I was a poet too. Yeah. We definitely have that in common. I wrote a lot of poetry. Oh, absolutely. Yes, this girl got some poems. I gotta hear something. Yeah, off camera. Yeah. I mean, I used to. I created early on in Facebook, when I got on Facebook, I created a private group just for people to come and read my poems. The group was called I Call It Love. That's nice. Yes, because a lot of my poetry, like you said, it kind of like a feeling, is deep, is personal. Deep. And for me, it was a lot of it about love, because at that time, that's what was important to me, is finding love. And because at that time, I don't even think that I had love for myself. So it was like, I'm now searching for love, whether it's with me or with someone else. And I would write these poems, and they were all like love poems. And I just wanted everybody else who I invited into this group
So now they can feel the love too. So it was a way for me feeling the love for myself, also to me giving back the love to everybody
else. But
it's
good that you recognize early on, if you listen early on, if you really pay attention to being young, your most authentic self before, like you said, semen imprinted and stamped on and all of that.
Right.
When I look back and I listen to all the songs that I used to listen to or artists I used to like and all the things I love to do, it was really who I actually were identifying as.
Absolutely.
When I went back, I love Queen Latifah.
Who don't?
Who you calling a bitch? You and I.
T.Y.
I was like, you and I.
T.Y.
So
that's my jam.
And then I liked NWA.
Yes.
And I like, it's the diggy, but I look back and I'm like, wow, I was into wisdom, knowledge, intellect. I also like 357, Hammers Girls.
But that's who you
as
are.
Far as dancing and being in the bodysuits and it looked like they were working out and I kind of work out still today. And just all the shows I like, it kind of like was like, this is who you are.
So I just said
things that I do now as an adult, these are the same things that I kind of linked to as a kid, just like my mindset of the things I like, people I like to be around and the artists that I love. It really mimics. And sometimes we think we're growing into someone that is mature and evolved. And actually, we already who we are, minus some and added some experiences to kind of challenge that identity.
Absolutely.
Really.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about Hedonis, the Amazon.
I love being Hedonis, the Amazon.
I loved you being
6 feet,
Hedonis,
6 gap in the thigh. You know me. You had 6 feet, 6 gap in the thigh. The gap is kind of closing.
Stop, girl, stop. Now you just had to put a little
Everything
fire
is there.
You let me know that fire is still there.
Hey, go ahead and YouTube me so I don't have to recreate. You can get it originally. That original vibe. I really, it snuck up on me. My cousin and I, we was in a group called Northside Gangstresses. We were only 12 and 13. And we spent countless of hours writing raps and performing it for our families. We used to do shows because during that time, you were the only rapper in the neighborhood, and everybody knew us. It wasn't something you were jumping into. You had to have it in you. You had to have the passion to express yourself. You had to have the I don't care to be judged. You had to stand up when it was time to stand up in any environment. We had a ball being creative. It bonded us, my cousin and I. It made us a lot closer. And I think that relationship was bonded not only by blood, but through creativity.
So y'all were like iron sharpens iron.
Yeah. I went on to college, but still that was in my heart. And then one summer, met someone from a mixtape. I got ignited again. I have a voice. I'm somebody. Through the struggle of the families that's here, they're producing people who are coming out in the world not feeling understood, loved, and valued. Our families are not doing this for purpose. They're trying to survive. So a lot of people are coming out not feeling these things, and music is filling the void.
I just want to know if I'm hearing this. What I'm hearing is, so with hip hop, and now you're becoming the voice to the voiceless.
No, I'm becoming a voice for myself.
Oh, okay, for yourself. Because when I heard you say about, you mentioned I'm here, right? When you said I'm here, like, okay, now hip hop, I'm here.
No,
now...
I'm here meaning see me. Right. No, so every artist is rapping for a reason. You know what I mean? And it's this. I'm here. You're gonna see me. You're gonna understand me. Right. You're gonna know what it feels like to be me. If you do the opposite,
right?
Why am I doing that? I'm doing that because that wasn't the case.
But don't some
prior to.
artists though still, even though it's I'm here, you're gonna see me, you still are speaking for the voiceless because you're now bringing into the environment.
You're bringing,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I think hip-hop. I think it happened for. So I'm explaining it not on the surface of being like I'm not on the surface of saying like hip hop is, you know, I got in it. It's cool. It's, you know, I'm getting to the why that caught me. Yeah, the purpose of it. And the purpose of it was the same, just like the love thing for you. Right. Something was missing. I want to be love and I want to show you guys love. So my thing was I want to be understood and I want to understand y'all. Do y'all feel this? Right. Okay, we understand each other. Hedonis was birthed in a sense of I knew the difference between her and me. And at that point, I knew that in order for me to get my needs met, and meaning that if I get money, if they understand me, if I can help my mom, if I can, you know, buy a house, buy a big house and do all that, all of my problems will be over. Gotcha. You know, and all of the things that happened to me in the hood. Because once you go out early, you're not ready for that. Right. So here we come with a lot of abuse and crazy stuff that we can save for another time. Right. But including that, now I'm rapping with included all of the craziness, right? So now I want to solve the craziness that happened, the abuse, the this, the drug, whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to help them, all of this. So that was holding a lot of weight for me as being a savior in a safe place I told you I was in seeking for. And it was the solution to the problems. And that's why I gave it my all. And that's why I was so passionate. And that's why people...
You're still passionate.
Yeah, I'm still passionate. But that's why people get hurt from it. Because you think people just rapping. You think people just putting balls in baskets. You really think that people are just operating because they were born to. It's a need for that. And if that need is not being met or is threatened, what do you think is going to happen? Right. So as well as it is the problem solver, we think. And we think it's the healer. In actuality, it becomes something we totally depend on so much that we will put it on a line because the outcome that I'm thinking getting is worth it. So it's doing a job. It's just not. You get the message because you're not the artist, the rapper. You're getting the message. Right. But as the artist, that's a whole different culture, and it's a culture that needs to be hugged, held, and healing to even produce better music than what we're getting now. Because here's the thing, when I got really deep into it, I felt great. I felt I felt everything that I didn't get. They screaming my name. I'm up on stage, even though I wanted to stage flat and be with them too. But I felt needed, wanted. I belonged to someone. They knew my names. They knew I existed. I wasn't a problem. I wasn't a burden. It's the outcome of what this is promising us. The shiny car, the big mansion, the savior, help my grandma, help my mom, save my brother, take us out the hood. Right. So now it's deeper. Right, it's deeper. It's deep. So and that's something that I don't think that's talked about enough. And it makes the music so good. And it does. But that's something that is not talked about enough. So you just literally brought something to light that I'm quite sure even people that are listening, people that are watching right now will say, wow, I never really thought about hip hop from that level, because right now what people are seeing is that, like you said, the cars, the mansions, the this, the that. The promise. But it stems from childhood. It stems from childhood. It stems from it's a want and a need. It's a want not being met. Yes, exactly. Not being met. It's all a lot of our adult problems. A lot of why we do what we do. If you want to know how, what is up with me? Why I keep doing that? Or why do I like this? Or this and that and the third. It all stems from you not getting particular needs met as a child, or the sense of the community or the family or a particular group saying what you have, what I see in you authentically, we don't like. Put that away.
Yeah.
And put that away. Yeah. And then you can come out. So now if I put something away that's 10% or 20% of me, now I'm operating in a world at 80%. Only because you've learned a lesson from something in your fears and any of the neurotic kind of mindset or coping skills that you're dealing with, what hurt you. Now I come in the world and you automatically take what may be a benefit to me away from me, in a sense of, hey, if you cry, don't cry, you're punk. So cry and go in the back. If you say, speak up, speak your mind. Oh, don't speak your mind in here. So now you got a woman that never speaks her mind. Right. You know what I mean? She's getting her needs met other ways. But the kids' developmental stage in getting what they need, and it's hard because we're fighting for buildings. We're fighting for policies instead of kumbayaing around these younger bucks. Yeah. Why can't we lock arms around young people instead of locking arms around buildings and policies and certain things?
But that's what you're doing.
Yes, but before they get to me. Yes. See, I'm the less.
Right. I understand. But the thing about it is, which is so beautiful about what it is that you do, is the fact that not only are you a therapist, but you also a community engager. And so you're an advocate for change within the community.
Yes, I am.
And like you said, not before they get to you, but they are getting to you because you're out there in the streets once again, but for a whole different reason.
That's true, but a lot of kids are already damaged when they leave the home. Yeah. So that's where this is all at. But this is how we get to the point where we're out here doing these amazing things on hindsight. Right. But underneath it is we still kids. And that's why you see a lot of adults who've used to come out here and fix it. They came out here, they, actualized their talents. They found a way. Right. They're a big rapper, or they're a sports person, or they've made it to be a doctor or a lawyer, right? Mm-hmm. You've made it there. But these unmet needs and your maladaptive behaviors to fit inside is a gap there. So you fit stuff in there that wasn't really healthy. And you bring that into your profession. You bring that into adult relationships. And now you lost that. So now, why can't we come up as a people and have our own things? Because we do. We just can't hold on to it because certain things that traumatized us. And when I say trauma, I mean trauma in the sense of it's not what happened to you, but did it change you? Right. What happened? Right. If it did, for the worse, that's called trauma. And as long as you got that, you're going to be triggered. And depending on whatever disconnect you had, you can lose it all. Right. We're seeing that right now.
Yeah, we are seeing that right now.
So that's what I'm talking about. I benefited from being a rapper when I decided to benefit from it. The reason why I'm a therapist is because of isolated incident that was unexpected. That's amazing, but it was happening, and that's another time. Before that, I started recognizing something. It was a thing that you must do when you write. You must speak from your soul. You must spill the most hurtful, painful, horrific stuff if that album or if that song wants you to. Okay. And if you want to be hot, you got to hit buttons, hot buttons. Your song has to take a person to a place or have them feel like they can identify. So you are encouraged to go deep. Yeah. Okay. We think it's a hot song. I realized that my songs was re-traumatizing me. Okay.
So what does that mean?
That means that I was writing songs from places I didn't speak about. I'm writing songs damaged deep inside from things that happened to me that's very hurtful and painful to make the song hot, to identify, to give you that chill. Right. But I didn't work through that yet.
So as you wrote those songs, and as those songs came out,
and I play them back,
right,
and they go back in here.
Okay, so it wasn't healing to get it out. It was actually
it was
the opposite.
It was the opposite,
okay,
because you haven't worked through that.
Okay.
So now it's just like a traumatic memory that you get. If you get a flashback, something happened to you, it feels like it just happened.
Post-traumatic stress disorder.
No, not post-traumatic stress disorder. Okay. A traumatic situation or a hurtful situation that you still have a memory to, that takes you back with all your senses to a particular space where you don't even know that it's happening right now.
Okay.
It ain't, the memory is here, but everything here came with it.
Okay.
And if you play your song over again, the sensations, everything is coming back, and it changes your mood, changes your thoughts. You know, if you have
do you believe that it's just not you? Do you
most
believe
definitely.
that this is prevalent throughout the hip hop community?
Not throughout the community. Trauma only is trauma when you change from what happened. I can go through something somebody else went through, but I come out traumatized.
Right.
Where I got fight, flight, freeze, fawn, my dysregulated nervous system, and they cool.
Right. But what I'm talking about is them writing the music. Do you think that other artists are experiencing this?
I don't know if they are. That's why.
No, that's why I said, do you believe? Not so much
I do,
but
I do. If the music is so-called real,
okay,
people are getting locked up from things that they're doing.
You said something very important. If it's so-called real,
yeah.
So it has to be real.
If it doesn't have to be real, we don't know if it's real, but
that's
if it's their reality,
it's meaning their reality.
Yeah. If it's their reality and it was a painful thing that they want to identify, and if you didn't work through that to where it doesn't push buttons, where you're not disconnected from yourself and getting high because you thought about it, you want to get rid of the pain, or doing, engaging in all kinds of weird things to take you away from the pain that you touched. You want to disconnect at that point and do whatever you got to do to not have that pain until it subsides, right? That's called the disconnect, when you have a dysregulated nervous system where you just been through so much that anything that reminds your body of that thing, you breaking off and you doing what you normally would do to regulate yourself. That mental health.
Go to Africa.
I gotta go.
I don't know. I gotta go.
No,
you know that was a joke when I said go to Africa. Like, meaning go to Africa like I did to this. Go to Africa, girl.
That's an inside.
I just said go to Africa.
but I'm like, psychology, the brain, the mind, behaviors, moods, relationships, all of that it's through all social economic places. You're not going to escape it. It's more prevalent in music because we have to put out the most authentic things. Hip hop was supposed to mimic the messages from our community to be a voice for change.
Right. And that's why I was saying that earlier about being a voice.
You're just not prepared to change it.
Right.
You still is.
Right.
We're not talking about police brutality. We're talking about depression and anxiety. Where is the therapist now? Right. They are saying what's up. The music is telling you. Yeah. Where is the drug and alcohol rehabilitation centers? Right. Where is the health centers? Where's the mental health centers? We're speaking because it got worse. It got worse, but the shame of it all. So we have, if you grew up in a community where you're taking advantage of programs, then that's the community I'm talking about, right? And in there, if it's set up for us to be preserved and cemented in this, and music was the voice to say no, crack that cement up, haul it out, put more cement down, and we promise we're going to protect our people. And you don't keep the promises. Every time they still throw the bottles and the cat feed, everything all in the cement, and it bricks up right there again, tripping anybody who walks down the block, right? So they're walking there tripping. And all we do is walk in the street now. Because you can't walk on the pavement, everything. We got to wait till the city come, chop it up, put all the bricks away, lock them up, and we start all over with their little brother.
Right.
But it still happens with little brother. So what is this?
It's generational.
Because the music, they're not answering. They used to answer to our music. Right. They used to answer to the call. Police brutality, respect the women. Right. Right? Tupac. What? Tupac. Hey. That's my man. Hey. You know what I mean? I love me some Tupac. Yeah. And now, how they deaf ears. The same deaf ears that creates children with unmet. So this unmet needs. So now it's a whole community with unmet needs. Yeah. And then you're not listening. We said we want medical institutions, more doctors, more therapists, you know what I mean? More community activists and leadership that can make change, right? Yeah. What are we saying? I don't even know who's taking the initiative to take on what this music, what we're putting out there. Now it's sex. So I guess we need sex therapists and clinics.
Well, lots of those. Because it's on the rise. STDs are like highly on the rise right now. But yet people are just out here. Like
it's a call that's unmet.
Yeah.
And so going back to me being that means whatever I've been through, there's none of your business. Mm-hmm. Read about it in the book. But all the things I went through, the situation was traumatizing, but I became traumatized from it because I changed as a person. My identity changed. I was a new person. And there's a lot of new people walking around here because something happened to them that changed their identity all the way up, and they're still acting like their former selves, right? But the music re-traumatized me, and it kept reminding me that changed you and it hurt. And if you keep doing this, so now I started reacting. I was being very reactive during that time. And that's when I used the most substances and engaged with the most, I don't know, disingenuous people who didn't care for themselves at that point.
So did you care about yourself at that point?
I mean, I think I had an issue with loving me. Okay. And it started very early. Right. But that made me not love me more because something happened to me. I'm being re-traumatized by the music. Y'all saying it's hot. You want me to keep saying it. Right. And then I go home and I have that energy in me where I'm reactive, disconnecting. Where's the drugs? Where's this? Where's what I need to feel better? Because I never worked through what I'm sharing with y'all. Right. And it's on 12 mixtapes here, about 150 songs, right? When I realized that, I felt shame. I felt a deep shame because I was being called beautiful and talented, and I had a college degree, and then I survived the worst things ever to me. And that could happen in Philly too. Everybody's trauma is different, but to me, I was like, that's beyond whatever I need to take. So with that happening to me and not speaking about it, because it builds shame when all this good stuff is being there. So it shut me up about me having an issue with that. Okay. It sounds hot, but I got an issue with that, and it's causing all this other problems. And I don't want to say anything because shame makes you shut up and don't get help. Yeah. And I isolated for 5 years because I didn't want that feeling anymore. I didn't want the feeling of the trauma anymore. I didn't want to keep reliving the sensations of things that happened from childhood up to the other things that led to me talking about different things in the song.
But when you say that you didn't want to feel that anymore, what you were actually doing is starting to love yourself.
I think I was turning more I didn't want to feel that way because it was making me do other things that I think I loved myself more at the time of those things. I was really trying to protect me from going further in things that makes me feel good and disconnect me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But it really was the shame of coming out into the world, making it big, and then recognizing that
let's talk about making it big.
Yeah, that if I make it big, they're gonna see that, you know, I don't think I'm pretty, or they're gonna see that I don't think I'm lovable, and they're gonna see all the things that the hood create. The light gonna shine on it. And I was like, I'm out of here. Like, I can't, like, this song's something else.
Right.
But y'all about to see what most of these people showing you now. And I knew that the shame just pulled my talent back from that, because I didn't want to shed light on something that I didn't feel good about.
But at one point you did feel good up there on these stages, and at one point you did feel good with doing songs. But the question I have for you is that what was your highlight of your career?
My highlight of my career, wow. My most memorable time was, it's crazy. You would think that I would talk about meeting stars and meeting people. No, I know a couple of them. I've been in their places, in spaces with them, and I can do a lot of name calling of who I know and all that. But that didn't make it happen for me. That didn't. My most memorable moments was winning money that I desperately needed.
Okay. That's honest.
For open mic competitions and battles that I had in New York. Going there with $1, coming home with $5-10 grand, and winning it till they retired me. And people are like, you go so hard. You don't understand what I go through. I could be pretty later. Right now, I'm on a mission to if you're not signing me, I got to make it. Right. It was money that was needed. And then, like I told you earlier, Grandmaster Flash putting me on his album that sold overseas, and I was on a song with Big Daddy Kane, and even though I was on songs with other people, this is what got me checks. Right. I'm only talking about in the music what was given back to me for as much as I put out into it. 15 years of hard work and labor and pain and crying and all the things that they didn't see that could have took me out of here. Alphabet City in New York gave me that money. Supreme, he made an opportunity for me to come make the money. And Grandmaster Flash, I'm on his album. I was on K Slay's 2 albums. It was marketing. Didn't receive any money from that. But the opportunity that he gave me was just what I needed. I needed for someone to know I was talented that dealt with a lot of artists. So what he gave me was the fact that the assurance that I didn't have to be this sex symbol to come out into the game and rap. Right. And make money. Sadly, he passed, and rest in peace to him. But I wish he was here today, because we had a little falling out prior to years before he passed. It was just that I was transitioning. Okay. Yeah, I was transitioning. The pain was to my personal traumas, having to write songs and keep it going. It just said to me, like, listen, if you're going to write something, write your next chapter. And I pulled back and I wrote a project called First Lady. And it was my last project in 2012. And I didn't have a role model that motivated me to fight for what I saw myself actualized as. Not the hood chick, but Michelle Obama was kind of like my go-to person for that 2012 First Lady album I did. And that's the album that I put my future in. Okay. Instead of talking about what happened to me and all the traumatic things I
It's
put
really
out,
going.
what I was capable of. And to come to find out, after I did the album, I went after it. And that's how I became what's here today. A person that's still working on healing, but not even that, knew that it was more things out here that can bring in money. Music wasn't the only way to do it. Right. So going back to school, being now owning businesses, being an investor, now, dream car and all of this other stuff, right? Houses and all of that. That album gave me the vision of myself. So when I heard it back,
it kind of like manifested it.
So changing the music is something that will work, because how you think affects how you feel, and how you feel produces an action. So if you think good about yourself with an album, then you're going to feel good and you're going to make the action happen. Yeah.
So, wow, that was a lot, girl.
It was.
That was a lot. That was great.
I mean,
I already know. Listen, they don't know you. They just getting to know you. So this is why I'm just sitting here listening, because it's just all that fire. I know. Yeah, but that's who you are. That's what makes you so great. Just all that passion, all that fire, all that desire, and you're just so. That's what, like you said, it led you up to where you are today, and where you are today is now someone who has the skills and with know-how.
I got it?
You got the skills, girl.
No.
You got the skills.
Man,
like you have the skills, you have the tools, you have all these things now to take all of your experience and now be able to help somebody else. And that's what makes a great therapist to me. Is not someone who's sitting around as if nothing has happened in their life. Is because they've been through life. So now when someone walks into your office and now has to have a conversation with you, you can now offer them the not just listening ear, but you can offer the compassion and the empathy and all these things, because you know what it's like to go through things, and you know what trauma is personally. And I'll tell you this, I walked into a therapist's office one time.
Don't talk about us.
What? Some are great, some are not great.
All right.
You know that. I know to the people out there. Because you have to get matched with someone that really kind of that fits. Synergy that fits. And I remember,
because it's a relationship.
It's a relationship, and I love my therapist who I have now. However, I remember I went and met with a therapist, and I wasn't feeling it. And she's asking me questions, and I'm sharing with her what's going on, and she started laughing. I said, "My life is not funny. It's not funny. Sad. Nothing about my life is funny, or I wouldn't be here. So why are you laughing?" So I knew right then and there, nope, this is not it.
Did it turn? I'm glad it didn't turn you off.
No, absolutely, it didn't turn me off. I'm a believer. I'm a huge believer of therapy.
I want everybody to know. Please know that to beat poverty, starts with therapy.
Absolutely.
At least the study of psychology, to know how your mind sees money. Right. How do you see yourself? And the efficacy that comes with you getting from here, plan A, to plan B, plan B to plan C. Right. But it starts with a changed mind.
It's all
to beat it all. Why don't nobody get this?
The thing about it is, and I guess that's something that you can answer, because especially within our communities, so many people are so against therapy because of the stigma behind it. And yet it's something that can really open up the channels to our communities healing and coming closer together. And this is not all Black communities, of course, because you can't group all of us together, right? True. So you're the expert. I'm quite sure you know the statistics, and you know the numbers of Black men committing suicide, because that's on the rise, and just all these different things that are happening within our communities. I mean, these children out here who sadly you have these kids who are 12, 13, 14, 15 years old out here with guns here in Philadelphia. That is mental health.
So it's just like this bonding and this connection that happens when you don't get these needs met, and it's so strong, and we're human. So the limbic brain, which is our emotional brain, starts to take control, and we don't have the prefrontal cortex. We are emotional when we're out here doing this. We're not thinking that one day I have the capabilities of being a doctor. I know that I don't have the right support, but that don't mean that I should be making this decision. No, the limbic, which is your emotional state, fight or fight, you don't want to lose your friends, you don't want to lose nothing. It eclipses that decision making, that logic mode. Their needs need to be met before they meet individuals who have no good intentions for them, just giving them false needs to pull off actions. You got an uncle, you got a stepfather. We got some people that just ask these young men. Y'all don't answer their questions. Mm-hmm. Young men have questions. Young people have questions.
They do.
If you don't know how to answer the question, lead them to someone who can.
And that's you.
And don't just leave them out there, because anybody's going to give them an answer at that point. Yeah. So I think it's just learned condition and needs not met, and them working from their limbic, which is their emotional. And then I'm quite sure after actions, they're thinking, do you see them pics after the action? Don't they look like, what did I do? Like, we go through that, not to that extent, but people who or
make bad decisions always say, what did I do?
Yes,
for the most part.
Yes.
If they have a conscience.
Yes. Yeah. So we go there too, where we get disconnected because we feel a fear of not getting something, or a fear of something not turning out to our benefit, or a reminder of the past that threatens us. Some of us our central nervous system or dysregulated kind of this urgency stress system starts to kick in. You don't even know you're not disconnected and been reacting and cuss somebody out. You ain't think about it. You said it's over. You know, this is the light work. This ain't the gun pulling. This the light work. It's over. Mm-hmm. And then you leave next day. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even know I disconnected, or I'm never going to do that drug again. Next thing you know, you're there. I'm never going to gamble again. I'm never going to cheat again. But you disconnect and don't know where you disconnected from. It's so insidious, it sneaks up on you.
So how do they find that disconnect? Is that something where now that's where a therapist come into play?
Yes, because it's you learning the body. Mm-hmm. Because this is what they're talking about a lot. I think you talked about the survival mode with the other therapist, which was a good episode.
Yeah, Blackman Hill.
Yes. And she talked about the fight, flight, the fawning and freezing and all of that. These are responses that happen to us when we feel threatened or challenged, or we feel we are in danger. She pointed out our body response, stress response, was created when man was created, right? But it happens when we're a kid. It gets formed. The stress response is positive. It says you're going to go through some shit in life. Yeah. And when you do, I want you to handle it, be able to handle it, and recover quickly. Right? When we don't recover quickly, it's chronic stress. So let's start it off here. When children are born, let's go back to the young kid. Children are born, they HPA system, right? It's formed, and that's the beginning of your stress response. Mm-hmm. And it forms because it's the body trying to figure out, okay, let's form this stress response. So how we do it? We take the baby's environment. Is it healthy stress around? Baby cried, get the bottle.
Right.
Baby cried and Pampers get changed.
Get the pacifier.
Yeah, so now it's that system, right? Hypothalamus, pituitary glands, right? That system is the baby stress system. And when it gets formed, it's formed healthy or not. Given you grow up in a high stress, high tolerance place, that system is off from the door.
Right.
So now you're birthed with the high stress baby crying all the time, or things are happening where the child's not reacting right because their stress level, they can't trust their environment. That grows up into the stress system, right? The stress response is just cortisol, which is the hormone of your body, and adrenaline. Mm-hmm. It says you about to fight something crazy. We gotta survive. We gotta survive. So now you fit to get it done. So here's the stress system. You got what you need. You got the cortisol. You got your adrenaline. Handle it. I can't. They keep doing it. I can't get out of it. Nope. I'm going to shoot it off again. Come on. You got it again. No, right. I can't get out of it. I can't get out of it. So when you can't get out of something, that's when it goes to the chronic stress. Yeah. Right? But before that, it's the allostatic load. And what that means is your body's going to keep shooting off the hormones and the chemicals because you're going to fight. You're going to fight or you're going to lose other systems because you're going to reach a balance. You're going to reach homeostasis because if you don't in your body reach that equilibrium of rest, right, we're done. My chest hurt, my stomach, my acne going off, my thoughts is because
it's the audio. That's where all these people are getting all these autoimmune diseases.
Yes, because they can't get from chronic stress to rest. Right. And that's when young lady was talking about the fight-flight system.
Absolutely.
That is the autonomic nervous system. Right. One of them is alert, up, be productive, get things done, get it popping, right? Danger, all of that high. So now you get all of the adrenaline and all of that, cortisol. Then on here, it's called the parasympathetic because that's sympathetic. Over here is rest, restore. Stop being a car on the road, going 100 miles per hour, never pulling over for gas, never pulling over to get clean or in the garage. I want you to rest. But when you never pull over, here come all the cardiac, all the strokes, all the blood clots, and all the mental health, the anxiety, the depression, and the disconnect. And that's what I mean. So if you can't rest and restore, right, your body is in high stress. And now it's going to make you.
So what is the solution?
The solution is you knowing what it's doing.
Most people who are in those states don't know that's what it's doing.
No, they don't. They take anxiety and depression meds. Right. One to take you down. Right. One to take you down and one to lift you up because the parasympathetic part is where they call what they call the depressed stage. So if you high, you won't come down. That you keep going, your body shut down because it's going to save your life, right? But if you get enough rest, you feel great. You're going back doing the same thing you was doing before. So now you feel great. I'm gonna go do my drug. I'm back at it, and then it knocks you down again. So now you up, down, and that's the dysregulation because when a threat happens or when you feel or false perceived threats like a bill, right? Because the high stress kind of pushes this system to be dysregulated. So now dysregulated means things that you don't need to be stressed about. You're stressed about and not in your mind. You're thinking cool in your body. Yeah. So now you have it trapped in your body. You in your car driving and your heart start racing. And all of these because you have a subconscious thought that haven't come into your awareness, right? That your body is dysregulated on. So what it wants to rest. You can't get there on your own because it's not here. It's in the body. So they use certain things in the present moment, right? One of them is physiological sigh. Your breathing controls the body so that deep breaths out of it, right?
That's why they teach that a lot in therapy.
Yes, because now we need the body to bring the mind out of the limbic to use the frontal cortex of thinking to say, that ain't happened. That was a memory. Oh my God. That my heart revved up because I'm thinking the ball going to drop over there. So now I got a panic attack. So now you stuck and you're like, go away, go away. The more you tell a panic attack to stop, it's going to keep going. Just know that.
And that's a very scary thing because it's not something that you can control. Many, many years ago, I used to get panic attacks because I was that going, never. And my body
wore
was
out.
just, my body was like, okay, I'm gonna show you how you ain't gonna just keep going.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm thankful for now, because I'm very aware of this, because I got the tools by going to therapy. And that's why I am such a huge advocate. And it is
so real.
Mental Health Awareness Month. And by it being Mental Health Awareness Month, I'm hoping that there will be people who watch this episode and the other episode that literally will say, you know what, I think I should go and try therapy because I'm going. Or maybe they might not be going, and they might just be stuck because there's extremes, right?
Yeah.
So there's this extreme of I can't move, and then there's extreme I can't stop.
I can't stop.
Right. So, and that is me. So I am that I can't stop. But then when I go to push my limits, my body say, you're stopping.
Yeah, it says shut down.
It will shut down. And now that's why me, where I'm at now, I just go on a plane and go to Africa.
Yeah, I know. You keep doing it, and I'm going with you.
Or go to Jamaica. Because travel has been very therapeutic for me all my life since I've been traveling solo around the world.
I love that, getting away and seeing other people. Just giving your mind a break. You know what? The most nerve-wracking thing is that your body starts to let off these chemicals and start to make you feel like your chest is about to leave your body. That's what I love about adding the component of neural counseling, saying like, okay, the brain has something to do with the behaviors and our emotions too.
It has everything to do with it.
It does. And that it's important for us to know how the brain works, right, and know what chemicals. So when you feel these sensations, you won't feel that, what is this? And I think that therapists now, they just you come in and you talking, and then once you say what you say, they leave you open and you go back out. And that's why most people don't kind of trust the experience.
Well, give people out there listening a reason to trust therapy.
Man, here's the thing. I'm talking to my people. It saves you a lot of the gossip mess. Okay. For one, a person's credentials is on the line to keep what you say, how you say it, confidential. Plus, that person is able to have you work through things in your life that's painful in a way that is tolerable. They're not going to take because we go for the advice of family and friends. And yes, you go talk to them, but can they handle what you're saying? No. In a way that
I can't. I don't have the space.
Makes you tolerate the sensations more of the pain, so you can stay back in you can stay more of who you are and not escape or disconnect and do all of this other stuff that happens in our body and outside our body. Right. So now you're dealing with someone that's teaching you what's going on with you in a way that's relatable, in a way of in response to your stories, what happened, and educating you smoothly like that, but still slow, helping you tolerate more. So if you come in at a small box, right, and there's a lot of pain in there, right, opening up the space so you can deal with more thoughts and feelings without it triggering you away from your bills, your kids, your job, your dreams, your goals, or even your personal development and taking care of your mental health. The clients that I have now are not what most people think I have. I have lawyers and doctors as clients. I have police officers. These are people who may be going through transitions. But those jobs, lawyers and doctors, are stressful. Are extremely, very high. It's like Biggie. More money, more problems, right? Even therapists need therapists. Oh, I have one. Right. I don't know a therapist who doesn't have a therapist. I do. And it's as simple as like, help me make this decision. Right. I'm caught between these two dilemmas. Right. And I just want to make sure all my ducks is in a row. And that's one session. Right. So I could just pull this thing off and I'm understood, everything good. That's the low point. Help me make this decision. I don't want to talk about my business to nobody else. That will weaponize what I'm saying, or make me feel some type of way where I kind of creep back into this dark and shameful place when I'm really trying to get out. Divorces, couples, family, childhood traumas, childhood relationships, a new job, career. I don't like my boss. I'm having issues with my child. They're a teenager now. I've treated clients with schizophrenia, schizoaffective, bipolar, dissociated disorders, all those borderline disorders.
That's specialized.
Because I'm a psychotherapist.
Right.
That means I can diagnose,
right.
but I can't give you medicine.
Right.
So
the psychiatrist
is
the one that now can give the medication.
Yeah. So there's 3 different kind of therapists out there, just for y'all to know.
Right.
Psychologists.
Right.
They have a doctorate, but they can still do psychotherapy. Me, a licensed therapist, and a social worker, a licensed social worker.
Right.
So we're all out in the field, but you get these are preventive measures. When you open up a private practice in the community, that means we're being preventive, proactive. We all need help.
Yes.
And we all have been through something, and we all have emotional dysregulation sometimes, because emotions are so unpredictable in a world that, most often we don't understand. We're just faced with so many dilemmas. And to not feel that you're lost, to get perspective on your life, especially if you want to live a life with meaning. Living a life without meaning and purpose means not reflecting on what you're doing, how you're doing it, how your relationships are going, how are you seeing yourself. Here's the thing: do Janella like Janella.
Right.
As a family member, as a therapist, as a former rapper, as a girlfriend. And if I answer those truly, whatever the role is, myself is going to tell me from my gut, I can do better.
Absolutely.
And the more we evolve into a better being of ourselves, the more we evolve into our most authentic place. When we start to take all of these layers off, we kind of get to our real self. They're just layers.
Right.
It doesn't define you.
Right.
So you help get the layers back down. Even if you've changed for the better because of the layers, but find yourself.
What I'm hearing is the ultimate goal in therapy is to love yourself again.
The ultimate goal is to get back to you knowing your worth. Right. You feeling valued, and you liking you.
Right. So
you learning how to manage the mind and knowing that these negative thoughts I get, because we all get them. We don't know why. They're still studying the mind. We get
every day.
We get
negative thoughts. That's all. Everyone.
Thank you.
They say
and
80,000 per day.
80,000 per day. And 5% is
repetitive.
It's repetitive.
I studied that because I teach clients.
So anything that's hurt you, it's going to make you, anything that resembles that, it's going to make you remember that, to where you make something happen to get away from it. Right. You got to know that that's not real. Thank you, brain. I know you're trying to keep me alive.
Right.
But it also reminds you of that love, that connection, that bond that feels so good, that oxytocin that runs through. It's going to help you stay out of harm's way.
Right.
That's what it does. If you want to stay out of harm's way, you got to get to know how you work. You got to journey in and start going after these personal mysteries.
Well, you stay out of harm's way by making better life decisions. What I'm going to say to you is, if I didn't have a therapist, you damn sure would be my therapist.
I just want to let everybody know, this is the first time that I've ever spoke as a therapist on a podcast or to the world. This is the work that I've been doing for 9 years, one-on-one with my clients, and being passionate about it. So I haven't reached out and said, hey, everybody, I can coach, I can motivate, I can do this. I'm really hands-on with what I'm doing. I know, but I just want to thank you, because you've asked me questions that made it so comfortable for me to direct where my passion, the questions and answers to, what this audience needed to hear, because I'm so passionate I could just be like, hey,
It's all good.
but
That's
the
why we
thing,
love you.
but what you got out of me is exactly what I want them to know.
Good.
I want everybody to know, from a person who's been a therapist and then on the other side, that it's okay not to have it all together. The more authentic you are, and it's vulnerable, you will be vulnerable, because vulnerable is power. That means that you don't care what no one says, where you create a world where you get what you want done. And vulnerability is not easy to access because it's associated with shame, because if everyone was vulnerable, that means they were their authentic self.
Yeah.
And then at that point, we have a child mind where we're still vulnerable, but we're living out through dreams. We're living out through fantasies and all of these fascinating visions that created this world.
Girl, you just gave me goosebumps.
Yeah, to create this world.
You just gave me goosebumps, because
so
that's
let
the
us
life
all
I live.
back. Let us all get back there, and but you have to take you back to your authentic self. That's your most powerful self. You can't make things happen or be successful in pain, in trauma, or with a mask on. You will not be great. You will be on camera in the spotlight every once in a while, but we're talking great. We're talking about when you leave, your name's still flowing and your work is still flowing. That happens when you face the fact that I am vulnerable, because that's my strength. I'm vulnerable enough to be me, because when I'm me, I tap in mine. And when I tap in mine, nobody can stop me.
And that is how I live my life.
I love that.
Because this is vulnerable for me, to actually be doing this podcast and everything that I do. I don't know any other way but to be my authentic self and who I am, and bring that. And you either going to like it or you're not, right? And it doesn't matter when you're being authentic. It doesn't matter when you're being yourself, because it's one thing I always say is you can't shame a woman who's unashamed.
Love it.
So
I love that
statement. It's who I am. It's what I bring to the table. And I love that this synergy here of Angie and Friends are all the people who embrace Angie.
It's reciprocal. I know this is Angie and Friends, but you give to us as well. You really are a selfless person.
Oh, thank
and
you.
You make time. I don't know how, with all these trips to Africa. I don't know how you make time for us, but you do.
Yes.
But
it's important to me to make time with the people that I love and the people that I care about. That's very important to me.
Thank you. And you are trusting what? Because she thought I was going to act up on here.
Stop.
But this is needed. And I really hope that we get the message out that
what's next, and what's the ultimate goal with your services, and with you as a person and you as a therapist. Let everybody know that.
I think I've done enough of the rigid getting myself together. Now I want to be more flexible, and I really want to come out in the community and be of use. I at this point I'm very, very happy, because I did just buy a property that will be holding our psychotherapy agency.
Congratulations.
On 5th and Nedro.
Okay.
So we'll be able to tap on different nationalities and races there, because it's a mixture of people in that area. But my goal, I have a goal and I put a number on it. And I wanted to get 1,000 people to try therapy.
1,000 people.
1,000 people to try therapy. And it doesn't have to be with out of harm's way. But that's the goal, getting 1,000 people to try therapy. And see what it's like. Have your own opinion, right? Because it's the only place outside of the gym where it only benefits you. Right? If you put your work in. So that's good. And it took me a few years to get that property to kind of sit my private practice in. So I'm very, very grateful for that. I'm also making myself available for consultation, for public speaking, even for small groups for a corporation. I own an agency that supports adults with disabilities where we also provide therapy to and behavioral services and independent, teach them independent skills as well.
I think that's what's going to draw more people to you is by you just being you, but with the expertise and knowledge and education that you're so full of, that now makes more people who are like you or come from places like where you come from, coming from North Philadelphia or anywhere in the hoods of Philadelphia to say, oh, she's like me, but yet she can still help me. Because we do need more therapists like you who don't have to stick with the status. But the question I have is therapy can be expensive. So how will people who will need therapy be able to afford therapy?
I take insurance. So I do take insurance. And two, by it being my practice and it not being an institution I work for, which I wanted that because I wanted to be able to work with the community and meet them where they are. Okay. So I do have sliding scale.
And you and I actually are in a book together as well.
Co-authors.
So we're co-authors in a book that we did together.
Yes, we did. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, for getting me on there.
Yeah, well, thank you for being a part of it.
I know.
So it's great. So
it inspired me so much, that book.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad. I mean, as soon as we met and the book project came to me, I'm just like, girl, you gotta get in this book with me.
Yes,
so,
you made me an author.
Congratulations.
So I'm writing one now.
I'm so looking forward to that. And actually, I got one coming soon as well, too. Yeah. So we maybe be out there on a book tour together. Who knows?
I would love that.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
You see me smiling. Yeah. I mean, I can't, like, this is what no one sees. It's a bit like, and it just feels so good just to connect and know that we're not out here alone. Like,
and we're not.
No,
we're not. We're never alone. We always have each other. And I thank you for that because you have been there for me and by me through some challenging times in my life. And I'm here for you.
Because it was challenging the last conversation we had.
Yeah.
I stole 3 hours from you in the parking lot.
And guess what? And I didn't mind it. Not one bit.
It was like, I know we just left this event. Okay. Yeah. But we heading up out of here. We still, I got to tell you something.
But that's what friends do. And that is really Angie and Friends. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. And you guys can find me on Instagram.
Okay. Where?
Instagram, it's Janella, JANELLA.LPC. And you can also find the private practice. It's called Out of Harm's Way .LLC too. And I think it's Out of Harm's Way .therapy as well. I think I got two. Come say hi, come in my inbox. If there's any questions you guys have about the field, any thoughts that you're having about mental health or anybody because there's people that want to know what it's about before they come in. And here's what it's about. It's just like what happened between us. Yeah. A conversation.
The conversation. That's all it is, guys. So, again, thank you, girl. I love you.
Love you too.
And
Angie and Friends. Angie and Friends.